Welcome to Goobertown Hobbies. My name is Brent. Today we are going to judge a mini painting competition. Now, ever since I've been doing this YouTube thing, I've been invited to be a guest judge for a lot of different competitions. The only problem is that I am a terrible judge. I end up finding too many things that I think are neat. I can have a masterpiece in one hand, kind of a janky model over here, but as I'm looking at them, I'll find something I like in both of them. I'll find some basing technique that I think is really cool, and I'll give both models an A+. So I am a terrible judge. But I think that's okay. I think that's part of the reason why I love this hobby so much, is because I can find something fun in almost any model that I look at. So today we're gonna judge a mini painting competition, but it's more like we're gonna look at some pictures, we're gonna get some ideas for stuff we want to try in the future, and we're gonna get inspired. So the competition we're judging today is the Goobertown Roulette League. This is a painting challenge that I run for the Patreon supporters of this channel. The participants start by picking a random model, and then they roll for a random paint scheme. For this season, the paint schemes are tricky colors, so colors that we might ordinarily try to avoid. They are white, black, yellow, neon or fluorescent, brass or copper, silver or gold. Now, the contestants have the choice of rolling once for one of those tricky colors, or twice and need to put both of those tricky colors onto the model. With the rules out of the way, let's take a look at these entries. Alrighty, I'm going to be down here in the corner providing commentary on these entries. This is the closest thing to a Goobertown reaction video that you are ever gonna see. Now, I've got the artist's name that's on there to provide some credit, because they are doing all of the hard work on this video. All the production value on this video is coming from these artists. And I've got their names shortened a bit up there so that I'm not doxing anybody, but they should be unique enough that you can leave your comments below and let them know what you think is really cool. Now, starting with this entry from Arcus here, and there's a lot to like about this. This is one of those kind of masterpiece entries that I just stare at and smile. But, just starting at the top, look at that blue shadows on the white feathers. Look at the red hair. Might have to use this as a reference. If you can do ginger hair really well, that's a powerful thing. That's a good look. And finally, down at the bottom, something I think anybody can adapt to is look at the snow that's just barely hanging off the base rim there. I think that's a really cool touch. Now, the whole model is neat enough that that was on purpose, and it just kind of makes the model kind of come out of the frame a little bit and look a little more alive. So I think that's a really nice touch. So something for experienced painters to take inspiration from, and beginners alike. So excellent entry. Next up, we have this. So this, I think, was a neon or a fluorescent entry. And look at that. Everything is highlighted with pink. I did not know you could do that. Or at least I did not know you could do it and make it look good. So when I highlight green robes, I either use lighter greens, going towards white, or lighter greens going more towards yellow. But this is just a green highlighted with pink. And it's got that, synthwave neon look to it. Very cool. So put that one down in your books. It is possible to highlight apparently anything with pink, from the scythe to the handle to all the other bits on there highlighted with pink, including the the chainmail armor, and it looks good. I can't tell if that's kind of being lit by a pink light, or from without or from within. Maybe the whole ghost there is glowing pink. Hard to say, but you can highlight with pink and make it work. Live and learn. Ooh, okay. So this artist told me that this was their first mini ever, and so this is winning participant in the best possible way. Keep on going. This is awesome. I mean, there's even stuff that I'm baffled by here. Like, look at that shield. What What is that blue on that shield? Is that like contrast paint in the recesses there? Whatever it is, it's a really fun effect. It looks like frosty. Yeah, congratulations, very nice. What do we? Ooh, okay. This one. Okay, couple of things we can talk about here. First off, I'm looking at that axe head and it is amazing. I'm not sure if this person rolled, gold or yellow or what, but there's kind of some non-metallic metal on that axe head and it looks really good. And if you're trying to get into non-metallic metal, you can really study that and look at where the dark patches are. I'm starting to move in that direction myself, so I'm interested in that. And so, something for advanced artists here. But even if you're just starting out, you can look at the bark on this dryad and on the axe handle and see that's birch bark. So rarely do we see, types of wood other than just brown or gray brown or green brown. But here we have birch bark. I think that's a really cool look. Even more so because it's so simple, apparently. It's just markings of brown and black on top of a white base coat. And you can tell right away that's birch. It's so recognizable. So just a little tip to file away for later. Very cool. This guy. Okay, so I think this artist rolled 2 dice, 1 black and 1 yellow. And I like the way that the black is like black steel. And the yellow, they went with a really pale yellow. Now, the thing that sticks in my mind about this mini is that it is the perfect representation of lawful evil. So this is a headsman, the someone carrying out the law by murdering people. And just the coloration is so good. The black steel, and then on top of the black steel, there's the like pale yellow tabard or surcoat or whatever it is, complete with a little bit of heraldry there. And the heraldry looks nice. So yeah, whenever you think lawful evil, this headsman should come to your mind. Ooh, okay. So this one I think was a brass or a copper roll, and I think this is a Fallout miniature. But what I noticed about this miniature is actually there on the base. This has a really visceral feel to me. Like I can see those metal boots walking across that gravel, and I can hear the sound of that crunching, and it just feels so dry and barren. And just that little touch of the little bit of lichen or coral or whatever that is makes it feel like it's a beach and a post-apocalyptic beach. I don't know if this is Fallout 3 or 4 or if this is Boston Harbor or what it is, but I like it. Okay, this is another one where I looked at it and I immediately had like a visceral feel. So on this, it's the rust. Now, look at the texture on that. That is such an unpleasant rust. Like the the dedication that this lad must have to strap that shoulder pad on every day is outstanding. Like if that's yeah, I think you can actually see where some of the rusty powder rubbed off onto his skin. Like if this Chaos Warrior doesn't have a tetanus shot, he's in serious trouble. But yeah, look at the way that rust is looks like it's flaking, especially there on the axe. You can see the layers, and in some places where he's been cutting things up, the rust is scraped off, and you still got some steel or some iron under there. But it's a really cool effect. I like it. Ooh, okay. So this one is part of a series of models. Now this overall challenge, the one thing that I took from looking at all of the entries as a whole is that the combination of colors white and yellow, or sorry, white and gold, or white and brass, white and copper, all of those combinations of white and one of those yellowy metallics actually looks really good. and you can add to that almost any like third accent color, and that'll look really good too. Now, I think if I remember correctly, the roll on this was not white or gold. I think the roll was actually neon, and they decided to go with this salmon color for the cloak there. But hey, that's okay. I think we have a lot more here that did roll white and gold. Yeah, this is maybe white and copper on this one. But again, that combination of white, the yellowy metallic, and then that third accent color, in this case, the sea blue, is really nice. On this one, it's a speed paint, but I also like the touch of the dark skin with the just white eyes. Has a very storm look to it. Also, I think maybe Drow are supposed to look like that, but it's a striking look and something to file away at the memory banks. Okay, another wonderful white and gold, or white and copper, whatever that is. Yeah, and this is a Chaos Warrior. Actually, this exact model has been on the Goobertown channel before. It's a lovely model, and apparently it looks good in almost any color. This is a wonderful blend of colors. Again, white, gold, or copper, and then I guess black is maybe the third one on that. And yeah, the base is really fun too. So yeah, I could stare at this one for a little while longer, but let's move along. Yes. Keeping on going with white and gold. On this one, I actually want to draw attention to the third color of red. Now, this is really interesting to me because the red is not spread around the model that well. It's on the handle of the mace, I guess. It's on the shoulder pad. It's on the plume. It's mostly all up in one corner of the model, and yet it looks good. Now, I think part of that is that the belt is used to balance things out just a little bit. And so the belt may be part of what's saving it from looking super unbalanced. But I was just struck that, yeah, you can straight up have, a shoulder pad have a different color from essentially the rest of the model and have it look okay. But then I got to thinking to like Star Wars, where the stormtroopers sometimes will just have like an orange shoulder pad on them, and that looks kind of cool. So I think that's something to file away. And one last thing on this, I love this model, the Sequitur model. It comes with a couple of different heads, and the head that I always build it with is the helmetless head with the lady with like the sweet undercut. I think that's awesome, but this is one of the few times that I've seen that model with the actual helmet on, and this is great too. And again, I am loving this gold, white, red combo. I think it's really striking. Very nice. Another, this is black, gold, and red. And again, with a lot of that red being on a single shoulder pad. And that's why I put it right after that previous one. But again, this is a really nice balance of colors on this, and I can stare at it for a while. And something else I want you to notice on this is the quick but effective plasma look. So it probably didn't take too long to slap a little bit of white on the upper corner of that plasma coil on the plasma pistol, but you get the idea. There's roiling energies inside that gun, and I think it's effective. So yeah, this looks nice. Keep on going, Joseph. Okay, here's one of those models where I have to stare at it for a while to even have anything to say. Look at this. Look at the way that that blue on the armor kind of transitions into the reds and purples of the robes. Look at how the reds, the purples, and the blues are present on the mace head there, or the axe head, or whatever it is. Look at the way the tufts match the character. I'm almost curious if the tufts came first or the character came first. And so, me looking at the blends and the colors used on the robes and the armor, I'd have to think for a long time about how to replicate that. Maybe it was a very simple technique, but for me, I'm staring at it, trying to figure out how it was done, thinking about how I could use that in the future. But then, of course, there's some more like simple inspiration you can get out of this model. One is it's kind of fun to match your model to a bright and flamboyant grass tuft that you might have around. But two, separate from all that other stuff, if we just look at the base, I think this is just a dry brush over black, but using green instead of like a stale old gray or something has a really nice look to it. So yeah, this is one of those that I can stare at for a long time and get some useful tidbits out, and also just kind of be in awe at some of the other details. So maybe you might want to hit pause on the video right now and stare for a while yourself, but I gotta move on. Ooh, okay. So this is a diorama, and a lot to look at here. I'm going to provide a link to you in the description for the Lich King YouTube channel. This is a longtime Patreon supporter who has just recently started a YouTube channel and is putting out good content. And as you can see, they have a lot of skill. This diorama here, there's a lot of fun things going on with the lighting. There's a lot of fun things going on with the story, with that werewolf lurking behind the party there. And in just as like a little practical bit of inspiration, look at the roots that were used there as trees. I think it's really fun the way they're just kind of curved in, so that they're really, coming in tight across the party, and it seems more like claustrophobic, like a tighter growing forest, because the way those roots are forming kind of like an arch over the whole diorama. And yeah, another one we could stare at for a while, but let's move along. All right. So I think these are weird miniatures, creepy dolls or something like that. And okay, a couple of things to say here. First, this is the first time I have seen an attempt at carpet in a mini or a diorama. I'm pretty sure, at least. So that's static grass that has been painted white to imitate a carpet, because these dolls are sitting on a bookshelf inside somebody's home or their library or something, and they're up to no good. But aside from a sweet attempt at carpet, there's also a lot of texture in here that I think is fun. Now, if you look at the dolls themselves, you can see that burlap pattern, so just very wide-spaced cross-hatching for wide-spaced, rough burlap cloth on those dolls. And you can also see the diorama itself, the bookshelf, I think is just flat poster board or cardboard or something, but just those lines of dark brown really make a convincing wood effect. And so I think that the texture on the wood and the texture on the dolls is really worth paying attention to in this piece. And yeah, it's creepy. We got to move on. It's too creepy. I was wondering when this one was going to come up. Okay, so this one, I hope Fiverr rolled neon. I can't remember, but the important thing about this diorama is that Lemony the slug has been traveling for a while, and he has finally made it to, or she, I'm not actually sure, Lemony, he or she, but Lemony has finally made it to the watering hole there, the Salted Slug Inn and Tavern, and it's about to have a good sit down and have some acorn brew. And yeah, this piece apparently was the culmination of a lot of different models and pieces of terrain and gifts and 3D prints. and it all came together into this beautiful vision of a happy little tavern, and this traveling slug is going to. And yeah, it lights up. It also lights up. And I really hope the roll on this was neon. You know, for most of these entries, it almost doesn't matter. The idea is that the prompt just moves you in the direction of getting inspired and doing a fun paint job. But yeah, you can tell that the artist had a lot of fun with that, and that always makes me happy. Okay, this wins the Painting Bravely Award. So this is some sort of a warlock's apprentice or something like that, and he's summoning some sort of skull spell effect, and that skull is magical, and it is blue. So the Ghost of Yankee Jim here painted up this model all the way, and then as the last step, loaded the airbrush with blue ink, and did that blue OSL effect, because that skull is very blue and it's bathing everything in blue light. And so this is some Painting Bravely, just taking essentially a finished mini and squirting it all over with blue ink and seeing what happens. Yes, yes. And as you can see, it actually is a very effective effect. Maybe a bit heavy on the blue, but hey, you can tell exactly what's going on. And I think it was a pretty quick effect, just squirting everything with blue, but it took some guts and it paid off. So, very good. Keep on painting bravely. Ooh, okay. A couple of things here. One, so the silver and the gold, very smooth. I'm told that this was the Vallejo metal color line, which does indeed give a smooth effect there, so that's all looking good. Now the robes, I love just the subtle highlights on those robes are great. But I think what James was actually most proud of on this one was the flesh effect. So the flesh on that head is a mixture of, I think, regular, Caucasian flesh tone, one of those, with a steel gray color or a gunmetal gray, like a blue gray color. And wow, it looks it looks dead or unhealthy and menacing. So yeah, the kind of deep blue color mixed with flesh gives a very unhealthy skin tone that is perfect for a chaos sorcerer. So yeah, very nice. All right. Jason let me know that this was their first mini in 10 years. So again, this wins participant in the absolute best way possible. Welcome back to the hobby. We're glad you're here. This is a nice mix of colors. You are well on your way. Keep on painting and having fun. Happy you're here. Ooh. All right. Lot of fun things about this Tau. So first off, it's a reminder that a little bit of black lining goes a long way, especially on like Tau models or Space Marine models that have those very obvious lines and gaps in their armor. And also you can tell that, it was yellow, and you can tell that John did not just put a wash all over everything. You can tell that for the shading and delineating those breaks between the armor plates, it was black lining. Very deliberate, putting in those black lines to make those separations, and it looks good. And then the other just overall nice thing about this is the choice of colors. Okay, so yeah, you got your Tau face, but the crystals and insignia or lights or whatever those are, that teal turquoise color, very nice. And I always appreciate a good ginger haircut. So yeah, overall, very good look. All right. So this piece from Shinobi, not to dox anyone too hard, but this person runs a game store, and they chose their model by asking a customer to essentially randomly pick anything they wanted from the game store. And a wonderful choice here with the the loon fungus shaman. Now, I think Shinobi told me that they rolled like brass or bronze for this piece, and I'm not seeing a whole lot of that in here. A little bit, and it looks good, but I'm okay that that the dominant colors are bright neon fluorescent mushrooms and ooze. Um, yeah, any excuse to put a bunch of color into a piece is appreciated, and what a nice little diorama with all the mushrooms and this shaman doing whatever he's doing. And I think, yeah, I put a second picture in here because I wanted a close up of that little poster that he has. Don't eat. And I can't tell if that's a picture of a mushroom with an X over it, like do not eat this mushroom, but it also kind of just looks like an angry mushroom. Both are good. I'm not sure which one I wish the intent was, but I can see both, and they're both pretty funny. So, very nice piece. Okay, so Carl let me know that they actually didn't like the mini they drew. They got this, I don't know, this engineer character who's looking at their rad meter and not liking the results, all suited up there. And I think they got black for their tricky color. And they did a very nice paint job on it. But of course, the completely redeeming fact of this piece is the little diorama. So a very fitting base for this mini. The barbed wire effect there looks great. And of course, the background is a lot of fun. Now, I think this artist has been printing off scenery for their backdrops, like, you know, using a color laser printer or whatever, and printing off a piece of paper with mountains or whatever else they want in the backdrop, and taking some really atmospheric pictures that way. So I think you could do that by just, you know, putting your laptop behind your model too and getting the right angle on it. But having a creative backdrop can do some really fun things when you're taking pictures of a mini. And the whole framing of this project, I think it made it a lot more fun than Carvel initially thought it would be. So congratulations on taking a mini maybe you didn't necessarily like and doing something really impressive with it. It's a thought-provoking piece. It's a terrible world to live in, but the scene looks nice. Ooh, okay. So this was, if I remember correctly, a white and yellow roll. And the direction that the artist went with is a yellow sand desert covered in snow. And of course, like a lot of Arctic and Antarctic areas are technically deserts. I don't know if they have a lot of like yellowy sand under them, but maybe some of them do. I don't know. And a couple of things here. First, I have never seen like a cloth strap used on a plinth before. That's a lot to think about. That's I don't know if I like it or not, but it's definitely a way to go. It's an option. It's a way to get like a lot of color and texture in there. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. The tradition is just to paint your plinth black or whatnot, but the yellow cloth strap, think about it. And okay, so but I'll say the thing I really like about it is the color choice on the squig itself. So a lot of times in like a snowy setting, the instinct is to go with blue for the recess shading and everything. But in this case, the artist went with more of red and purple and pink. And so this isn't just like an ice squig, it's actually an albino ice squig. And so I think that's a cool look. I like that a lot. And if you look at the volumes on the squig, the highlighting is really good. The teeth look great. And again, I really appreciate the instinct of going for the fleshy reds and pinks and purples underneath that white instead of the, it's an ice world, so it's blue. But yeah, this is a cool piece. Ah, yes. I think I used this one in the thumbnail, didn't I? Again, this is one of those that you can just stare at for a long time. Um, I know that LP has been interested in the style of Craft World Studio, as they should be. This is wonderful. Again, I love the audacity of just going straight from oranges and purples to a bright fluorescent blue. It is a really thought-provoking, inspiring, awesome style, and they're pulling it off. So, yeah, keep looking at that. And keep looking at that. Yeah, this is one of those where it's hard to get like a simple tip from it. It's more of you have to stare at it for minutes on end and really think about the whole change in style there. And it's beautiful, but it's hard to just say like like one simple thing that you can do to try to move in this direction. But I think part of it is just being willing to make those transitions straight from orange to bright blue and into purple. And I'm rambling now, but pause this, stare at it for a while longer, bask in it. We're moving on. Ah, bask in this too. Speaking of plinths, this is probably the best example we have here of a decorative base under a wonderful, colorful mini, and then on top of a plinth that is just a nice black plinth. And a lot of nice things we can say about this mini, but just since we haven't said it much about plinths in this episode here, I will say that a plinth adds a lot. This is a good mini on its own, but the framing and the gravitas that a black plinth provides, there's definitely something there. So I'm going to move on to the next one now because it's actually the same artist. Martin submitted two, both of them on lovely black plinths. And again, a wonderful paint job on the mini. The decorative base is bulked out a little bit with that, I don't know, that arch or gargoyle gutter that he's running on. Piece of architecture. I'm not sure if that bit of architecture is far above ground or far, far below ground, but you can tell that it's dark and creepy, and that Skaven is doing some business there. But and actually, this is another example of that white plus brass being a very sharp look and underutilized, except for in this collection of painted minis. Have to file that away for later, the white plus brass. But again, great mini, great decorative base, and the plinth really adds a lot. It looks great. Wonderful presentation. Ah, the colors. So, I think this was a yellow roll for this Hydra lizard, desert lizard Hydra dragon. And what I like about this is the way they are demonstrating, how animal coloration often goes. So you have yellow on the sides of the beast, and then as you get more towards the back or the dorsal area, it goes into browns and then into this, deep orange, and very much like a actual animal in the real world does. I've got a cat around here somewhere that goes from a white belly to yellow to a dark orange dorsal area. And it also really fits in with the base that was chosen here. So the sandy base with the kind of reddish, brownish pebbles and other debris there really looks like this creature is from this desert. And yeah, it's great. Also great photography too. Speaking of great photography, okay. This spider looks great. Also one of the images I used in the thumbnail for this video. So, yeah, a couple of things here. One, just the weird coloration on spiders can make them so scary. So the white and red on this spider, it would be scary in any colors, but I think this was a really good choice. And then on top of the white, I don't know if you can see there, but they're little hair markings, which is a nice little texture detail on the spider legs. This would be a hairy beast for sure. And I also can tell that this was probably done with a fair bit of airbrushing. So you can see that the mushrooms are casting a little bit of fluorescent light. So the area on the base around the mushrooms is a little bit green. And I think actually the underside of some of those legs is just a little bit green too, which looks cool. And then with the reds, the approach of painting, spots of red on the thorax, abdomen, I think it's the thorax. Yeah, the big bulby spider bit at the end. Wait, spiders aren't insects. They might not have a thorax. I don't know. Double check. The body of the spider. I like the red spots on the body of the spider. So again, just the choice of white and red looks great on the spider, and some of the spots, like at the joints, it's obvious, or it's more implied that might be a different color, so you paint the joints a little bit different color. But the inspiration of just putting spots of red onto the body, I like that. I think that's good. Very nice piece. Oh, there he is again. Yeah, you can definitely see in this one that there's a little bit of that greenish glow under those legs. Wonderful spider. Ah, and a wonderful Umber Hulk too. So this wins the award for taking the color of the mini most seriously. So I'm pretty sure this was a copper roll. But the copper looks good. It's this nice kind of beaten copper look with a painted copper and then highlighted, and then I think Agrax Earthshade for the wash. And the story for this is that the dwarves have been confounded that something's going on down in the copper mine, and they're losing all their copper veins somehow. It's because this Umber Hulk has been eating everything, and the copper is turning his chitin metallic. So fun little story there. Nice looking Umber Hulk. Ah, Paul, your turn at last. Okay. I'm hoping this was a neon roll, but it looks great. What I'm drawn to on this bust, first of all, this comes from a series of demon lady busts, which are all very nice. But what I'm drawn to here are the eyes on the girl and also on her toad. The eyes on the toad are so good. Those alone sell it as a magical beast. And then her eyes, are almost like watery or something. There's some depth to them there. Again, pause the video, take a look at that, take notes. And she's even got a teddy bear. Teddy bear's eyes are not as complicated, but still very adorable. Okay, look at that cloak. So, this whole model has some nice object source lighting going on. So from the front, you can see that the flame is reflected a little bit on the blouse, or it's lighting up the blouse, and you can see that there's a lot of light and a little bit of orange there. But what I really like is the cloak. Just such a nice, presumably wet blend from purple down at the bottom on up to blue, on up to green. And then it looks like the wet blend stopped with green, but then to really accent the fact that those flames are lighting everything up from an angle, there's just, it looks like just with a paintbrush, came back in and did some quick highlights with pure yellow or yellow-orange. That's a really nice look. Very good. Ah, this might be the perfect color combo. I've been seeing this a little bit more recently, this combination of just yellow and blue, these particular shades, and they go so well together. So a little bit of inspiration there on a color combo, but then also if you look at the base, this is a nice use of crackle paint, I believe. So it looks like crackle paint, texture paint was put down on the base, and then when it dried, it was painted over to make it a magma effect, and looks great. Or maybe the magma effect might have been put down first, then the crackle paint, then... Well, you have to ask the artist. Let us know. It looks good either way. There's a couple of ways you can do that, but it looks good as the scorched earth kind of look that this dragon is hanging out on. Ah. Look at that. So this is a elf sorceress or some such. Elf wizard, maybe? That crystal is such a nice color. And, oh man, is this another white and copper model? It might be. It looks good. But actually what I want to draw your attention to is that this is actually part of a diorama. And I really like the way it's set up with that room behind her. It really makes you wonder what she's doing adventuring down there, what's behind each door. And if we flip to the next slide, there is some sort of monster behind that door. But this was built as a little diorama that has a couple of rooms in it, and also has a light set up there to do some really fun things with the way the light is bouncing around and the way the shadows are being cast. Just to flip back for a moment, there's the result. But that's a really nice picture. Really great paint job on the elf sorceress, and the diorama as the backdrop there really adds a lot, I think. Another one to sit and marvel at. But I will try to draw your attention to some of my favorite features here. So first off, this is, doesn't have a plinth, but it is obviously a decorative base. And I think there's a lot we can learn from this decorative base. So it has a lot of height to it, but it actually is not a huge base. It's not increasing the footprint of the model much at all, but it's adding a lot of height to it, and it's adding a lot of character. So like we can really imagine the mountain pass that this sequitur is climbing up here. And the way that the snow is interacting with this character is really great. I think you can see that the boots are all crusted in snow, and then as you move farther up the model, there's less snow, but there's still little snowflakes here and there. And actually even on the cloth, which is all highlighted very nicely, I think there's a couple of spots of white that are meant to just be snowfall, which is a very cool look. I like that a lot. And then of course the plume, the color choice of the plume on this character, wonderful. Love that sea blue. Metals are all great. This is one of those very nice paint jobs that we could stare at forever. But in terms of quick takeaways, I like this decorative base that's pretty small footprint, but a lot of height to it, and really working that snow effect into the character itself in a very intuitive way that makes you really see the snow falling around them. Ah, a lovely Space Marine Terminator chaos guy. Now, what I like on this is a lot of the little details. So first off, I want to draw your attention to the way the black is highlighted. So the black is highlighted with blue here, and it's not like an even edge highlight. There's some edge highlighting, but then there's like really hot spots of bright blue at the corners. I think it really looks good that way. And then also, if we just kind of move our eyes around, there's a lot of other little features that I really like. So on the muzzle of the, oh boy, I'm going to get this wrong. It looks like it's a combi melta bolter with a chain bayonet. But anyway, on the melta gun part of that, there's a really nice like heat scoring effect on the muzzle. What else here? On one of his knee pads, there's a nice chaos eye. on his eyes themselves. I really like the way they glint and glow. That looks really good. Whoop. Snuffles, can you wait a few moments before you munch and crunch? Snuffles? Oh. Snuffles was having a little snack. She gets a bit hungry sometimes. Don't you? Yeah, she was munching and crunching. The microphone was picking it up. Okay, so what we have here is an entry from Keith. He runs a YouTube channel called Tabletop Karnage. Not sure why he signed it as... well, he signed it as Keith Karnage. He also has a YouTube channel under that name, but the one you should know about more is Tabletop Karnage. And just as a quick plug here, if you are interested in 3D printing, Tabletop Karnage does a great rundown of all the different, Patreons and Kickstarters that are out there. It's a really good, centralized resource of trying to find what's new and see what awesome models are coming out, because there's a lot of new stuff every month, and actually Keith does a great job with Tabletop Karnage of doing rundowns on that. And I assume this is a 3D printed model. I don't immediately recognize it, but as always, I really appreciate the way that Keith paints cloth. So he's got this cross-hatching technique that kind of highlights up the cloth in a fun, textured way. And it also gives the impression of the texture that cloth has. And actually, it's inspiring enough that I've tried it on a couple of my minis now, and I am not as good as Keith is at it, but it is a fun technique and worth trying for yourself one of these days. But yeah, the mini looks great, and as always, Keith is worth a shout out for Tabletop Karnage. Now this is also a 3D printed mini. The mini looks great. This is from Loot Studios, I think. And this is the stranger sitting in the back of the tavern smoking a pipe. And that pipe itself looks good, especially in the middle image there. You can really see the flame coming out of the pipe, like the stranger is taking a pull right then and there, and it's burning a little bit. And yeah, the roll for this mini was black, and it looks good in black. There's some subtle highlights there, keeps it black, doesn't go into gray, and it's an awesome mini, and it looks good painted like this. Congratulations. We approach the end, dear friends. I think this is the last diorama in the deck. Bask in its glory. Now, this whole diorama, the deer was not the mini that got picked. The mini that was randomly picked was the hunter or the ranger that's in the foreground there. We've got this scene where the ranger is on a hunt, and he's spotted a 12-point buck, and the moment of action is nigh. And let's take a look at this from a slightly different angle here. Oh, those sneaky gits. That's not a buck at all. That's a couple of goblins playing a trick on somebody. Now, I was always taught with hunter safety that you want to not be mistaken for a deer. So these gits, as always, are not following the rules, and maybe they're too clever for their own good here. But or maybe they're playing a trick on the ranger. I don't know if they're laying a trap for him, or they just think it's funny to get his hopes up and have it be a couple of goblins instead of a nice tasty buck. But the gits are really well painted. Love the look of them. Love the look of their robes. Love the look of their little noses and their eyes. I love that they're playing a trick on this poor hunter. And yeah, again, this Goobertown Roulette started with the draw for the hunter, and I have no idea what the color was supposed to be on this. There's not a whole lot of white, black, yellow, gold. I guess there's a little bit of brass in this model, but you know what? I'll let it slide. It's pretty funny. And here we go from another view. This shows off the paint job on the ranger himself, and it also shows a very nice resin pour water effect for the little river, the little stream there. Very nice piece. Completely worthy of praise. And let me just check here. Yeah, okay. That was the last image in the slideshow, because I wanted to to leave on a really silly and happy note. And go backwards again. There's the ranger thinking that he's about to bring home some venison for dinner, and there's some sneaky gifts. Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, so I guess that pretty much wraps it up for this season of Goobertown Roulette. Uh, Everybody's a winner. I'm a terrible judge, but hopefully everyone who participated had fun, and hopefully everyone who made it to this point in the video also had fun, got some ideas, got inspired. If you want to play Goobertown Roulette yourself, go for it. If you want to actually be in the league, you got to be a member of the Patreon. So that's there if you're interested. And yeah, thanks for watching. I encourage you to leave compliments for any of the artists that you particularly liked. Let them know if you saw something in their work that I didn't, that really spoke to you. Let them know if you're going to use any of their ideas in your own work going forward. And yeah, that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. Also, I did this roulette too. I also did this roulette. And that is a separate video, but also worth checking out.